What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Welcome into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabbar here with Jared Smith, Mark Zeno. Guys, it's a start to a brand new week. We finished up the Masters yesterday. We finished up NBA regular season yesterday. A lot to get to today. First of all, Jared, it's Monday. What was the best thing that happened to you this weekend?
Scotty Scheffler.
Well, that's a good answer.
Round of applause. Clap it up. Diane Knox comes on the show. She gets hired last week. I'm sure she had to deal with all the HR crap getting hired by Pickswise. What does she do? Ignores all of it, blocks out the distractions, comes on, gives out to Scotty Scheffler. Banger. Listen, golf is tough. You can go an entire season and win one or two outrights, but those one or two outrights tend to keep your bankroll afloat. I was down the whole year in PGA until yesterday. One weekend just switches the entire narrative. Scotty was unbelievable. 16-1, gave it out on the show Wednesday, and I hope some of you out there also were holding some Scheffler tickets because it was a really fun weekend. What do you think? What's your guys' jacket size? Your green jacket. I was going to wear green today, but I figured the Penn State thing was a little better. Mark, are you a sport coat guy?
44 regular.
Oh, my God.
He knows his size. He knows his size right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Zeno, what was the best part about your weekend?
Beer. Listen, I enjoyed every ounce of the Masters. I really did. I guess the best part of my weekend was being 100% right on Tiger Woods not having the that everybody thought he was, because I got excoriated for saying that anybody was
also good words. You're pulling out these words recently.
Well, I was really smart. Lauren, I try to look unintelligent and then impress people with intelligence.
I love that.
It works out well for me.
Way to be.
Love that for you.
Thank you. But anyway, so, people were mad at me for saying that if you bet on Tiger to win the Masters, you were setting your money on fire. I mean, you just were. There was way too much evidence for me to say that he wasn't going to win it than there was for me to win it. I get the nostalgia of it. I get the idea that Tiger being in contention is always awesome, because it is. And people are like, oh, you hate Tiger. I don't hate Tiger. There's nothing wrong with Tiger. I think Tiger is great for golf. Just I'm not going to put my money on him to win a tournament at this point in time.
Making the cut was the best bet for him. He had nothing in the tank yesterday. Nope. And I hated fading him yesterday. It was tough.
I did.
I can't stand betting on Jon Rahm either, because he's also a mental midget at times. But it was the easiest bet I made yesterday was Rahm over Tiger. I mean, Tiger had he was limping around that course. I feel terrible.
I know.
But
can you imagine walking that course 4 straight times, 4 days in a row on an ankle that's basically completely reconstructed? Like, he's going to have achiness and soreness in that ankle, like, the rest of his life.
I'm sure the weekend was real tough for him doing the recovery.
It was. Look, the adrenaline of the first day is what carried him through. That's all it was. And once that wore off and you had to go out there on Friday in less adverse or more adverse conditions, Friday afternoon when the wind started to pick up, and then Saturday through all that, his body just kind of betrayed him. And I understand it, but I'm just being objective about what I saw from Tiger. And in reality, nobody saw any golf from Tiger in the last 18 months. So why would you bet on him to win this then?
Yeah, it's like saying, hey, I haven't run at all over the last 18 months. I'm just going to go run a marathon today.
Seriously,
let's see how it goes.
That is the comparison, because one round is one thing, but the physicality of playing 4 rounds at Augusta, I thought he was going to come back for the Open Championship overseas, because that's a flat course. He can walk it a lot better. It's a lot easier for him physically. He has this nostalgia for the Masters.
Sure.
And I understand it. The best bet was for him to make the cut. After that, he was a fade all weekend. I mean, yesterday the conditions were easy, and he looked awful.
Yeah.
I mean,
very easy conditions yesterday.
And I'll ask you guys this question. I mean, if you had to place money, yes or no, that Tiger is going to win another major, which side are you on? Because I'm playing no.
Probably no.
I'm on the no.
But I hate that, though, because I want it to be yes.
Yeah, I know. But that and what you just detailed is the gambler's fallacy.
Totally.
It is exactly why the sports books always win. Because it's really hard to remove emotion from the equation. We're human beings. The best gamblers are the ones that literally are robots. Like, no emotion, none. We have some emotion. We inject it into the show, obviously. But it's really hard to bet without emotion.
Absolutely.
Really, really hard.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. It was good to see him back out there. Obviously sucks that he didn't perform well, but Scotty Scheffler, man, like he deserves it. He really does. We're going to get into the Masters just a little bit more. We have Bettor Up, our new MLB segment. Instead of just saying MLB picks, we wanted to spice it up a little bit. So Bettor Up, talking about some of the MLB games going on today. NBA Morning Radar, obviously no games on the slate tonight because the regular season finished up yesterday, but we do have play-in games starting tomorrow and Wednesday, and then we have more play-in games on Friday, so we'll start breaking some of those down. Obviously, we'll have more detailed analysis on that tomorrow. NHL Ice Picks, only one game on the slate tonight. Obviously, I'm on that game. And then we can't end without our best bets of the day and Pickswise 3-star play of the day. So let's get right into it. Let's bet it. I know we talked already about the Masters, but just give it up for Scotty Scheffler. He dominated the final 3 rounds, wins the green jacket, becomes the 5th player ever to enter Augusta, ranked number 1 in the world, and actually go on to win the Masters. I know Cam Smith put a little bit of pressure on him early. They cut the deficit down to 1 stroke after 2 birdies when he opened round 4. But Scotty boy, he remained calm, cool, collected like a cucumber. Got it done. Didn't let the pressure get to him. Zeno, just what did you see out of Scotty boy yesterday?
Honestly, people hate me for this. Not much. Like he didn't do anything.
he was solid.
That's good when you have a 5-shot lead.
Oh, okay, but I mean, I just like maybe I'm the one getting emotional. Like I can't recall one great shot he hit yesterday. In fact, I recall a lot more bad shots.
It was the chip on. I think it was on the early on of the tournament or early on in the round when he chipped it.
He was scrambling. He was scrambling his tail off for the last 2 days, and there's credit in that. Absolutely, there is. But like, if you want to talk about shots that I remember from the tournament, Rory McIlroy had a half dozen of them yesterday.
Yeah, Rory
were unbelievable. I mean, Minwoo Lee had a run of 4 birdies in a row yesterday. That was awesome to watch. Heck, Lowry had a triple. Dustin Johnson had a triple that I remember more than I remember anything that Scotty Scheffler did. And I know it sounds like I'm taking something away from him. I'm not. Look, it's like they said in the movie Tin Cup. Sometimes par is good enough to win. And yesterday, it was good enough for him to win. There was nothing really exciting about anything. I mean, what's it like double bogeying 18 to win the tournament? I guess
that the missed putt on 18, the short one might have been the most memorable shot. But no, he had a chip. I forget what hole it was on. He was off the green and he did like a little 2-skip and it went into the hole. Mm-hmm. That was pretty memorable. I do need to give him a little bit of credit for just keeping it together and not
keeping it together.
That's hard to do in this day and age. We've seen guys blow up. Even Cam Smith blew up.
Yeah, and people they're gripping the sticks a little too tight.
You don't trust a guy with a mullet ever.
Starting to white knuckle a little, you know what I mean?
We talked about this yesterday, Jared, the mullet. I can't back a guy with a mullet.
I love a mullet. I will not back down on this argument. I love a mullet. It means business in the front, party in the back. If you're going to go out to a bar, Zeno, would you rather hang out with the guy with like the weird coiffed, normal gelled hair, or does the guy with the mullet look like a lot more fun?
No, I'll drink by myself. Thanks. It's fine. But I have this vision of Lauren sitting there like the next weird picture she posts on social is her and her new boyfriend, a guy with a mullet in jean shorts eating a hot dog. Lauren's like, this is my dude.
I can see that actually. I actually can see that.
Yeah, actually, that's on my list of like people have to check boxes for me.
Yeah.
One of the boxes is mullet, business in the front, party in the back.
I can see you rocking a mullet, Lauren.
Me?
Yeah, you need a little short in front and then a little long in the back.
You guys, actually, I'm gonna look up this picture really quick because for Halloween in 2018, I dressed up like Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. Yeah.
Dirty.
Yeah, I can see it.
But you could see it, really?
No, I could totally see that. Like you probably had like the hat with the jeans.
You guys,
shorts, then you had like
the mustache.
You put like dirt all over your face. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I am.
Me and I went to the bar and none of my friends recognized me.
That's pretty good.
That's your next boyfriend. Just give him a hot dog with no mustard on.
I literally raided Walmart. Like I went nuts at Walmart. You should have seen my cart. Like I was like, I had like a mullet wig, these weird sunglasses, like a wolf shirt. I'm like, this is just bad. Jorts. Who wears jorts nowadays? I don't know. Anyways, last question about the Masters before we move on. If you were gonna go for a day, if you had the opportunity to go for a day, would you follow, Zin, I'll start with you, one golfer? Would you stay at one hole? Or would you walk around and kind of mix it up to try to see the whole place?
Well, when I've gone to a golf tournament, I've done all three. You just do it in sections if you plan to stay there all day long. I think that if you can get good positioning on a hole, stay there. Stay there for a couple of holes and watch it. I was fortunate enough at the PGA Championship back at Bethpage Black because it's where I grew up on Long Island. You know, I sat up on 18 for like 5 or 6 rounds to come through and watching everybody come up, which was awesome, and finish up and putt out. Followed Brooks Koepka and Jordan Spieth around for a hot minute. It's the year that Koepka won it. Following him around was a blast because the gallery is huge and every shot was awesome. And then you just start to like, hey, we haven't been over to this hole yet. Let's go see what that looks like kind of deal. Bring your walking shoes. But yeah, I mean, I would generally want to stay at one hole and watch everybody come through. I think that's easiest, especially if you're closest to a bar. You can go out and get drinks and come back. I mean, you know, I'm Italian. Everything is centered around food and drinking. But like that's when I think I enjoy the most. But you know, after a while, you have to just kind of experience all the course has to offer.
Jared, what would you do?
So I did both when I was at Barclays at Liberty National here in Jersey City. This past summer, I followed around John Rahm and Justin Thomas for like 3 or 4 holes, and then I just planted myself near like the nice part of the course where they have like all the grandstands and the bars and the restaurants and all that stuff. And I hung out there for an hour. And then I also drifted a little bit because I've never been to Liberty National. So I guess at the venue, if I was going to Augusta, I would literally want to walk and see every hole.
Same. That's how I feel.
I've never been to Augusta. I watch these guys on TV all the time. Yes. I know it's Augusta. I would want to go and literally say, hey, I touched the green or I stepped on every hole on Augusta. So I probably would be a nomad if I
what's awesome about when you go out to an actual golf course, like when you see them on TV, it looks so much different when you go there. And I remember at Bethpage Black, I forget who it was. I think it was Xander Schauffele hit from a fairway bunker. I mean, literally the bunker was above his head.
These guys are unbelievable when you watch them in person.
You never get that view on TV. You can't really tell the depth of where these guys stand. And then you look down the fairway and you're like, oh my God, like he can't drive a car.
Oh my God.
You know, these guys are so good. Like I'm about to go play after the show. I know Blaze talks about his golf game all the time.
Well, he sucks.
He does. But when I hit the ball and then I'm like, wow, I really hit it. And then I see these guys, I think to myself when I'm watching professional sports, especially NFL, because I play quarterback and I'm like, hey, I can throw the ball 40, 50 yards down the field. I know I can make a free throw. I can't do what these guys do in a golf course. Like what they do on a golf course is so above what the average golfer can do compared to like an NFL quarterback. Like I look at like some of these average NFL quarterbacks. I'm like, I can throw the ball as far as you. Like you cannot do what these guys do on a golf course. It is incredible what they just stripe it all over the yard. They bend it, they move it. It's truly remarkable how good they are at their craft.
As Masters weekend wraps up, MLB season is just getting underway. Let's talk a little bit about baseball because we saw a lot of the first series of the seasons finished up. First series of the season, the opening series in the season.
Opening series, you got it.
Thank you. Words Monday, you know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of games also going on today. First of all, Zeno, because I know we had such a heated conversation about this. Hot dogs. Jared, you weren't here for it. What is your go-to food at a baseball game? Zeno, I obviously know yours. You could tell me again, just so our viewers who weren't listening yesterday can get a little feeling of what you like to put on your hot dog.
Okay, well, look, spicy mustard on a hot dog is the standard.
Agreed.
And remember, a hot dog is not a sandwich. Let's just clarify that. But nonetheless, I always add sauerkraut and spicy mustard. Now, if there's
sauerkraut,
yes,
it is like standard condiment for a hot dog.
Go to any street vendor in New York. That's like the one thing they ask. Kraut.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's because I'm from New York. Like,
really?
And they said, "Where do you get sauerkraut at a baseball game?" Like, you just ask for it. Like they have it right there. And they pick it up.
That's what I said. I'm like, where do you get sauerkraut? Are you like
The
digging
vendor
through the
gives it
bag?
to you.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not like we're bringing it in from like the sauerkraut farms.
Yeah,
like,
I
pull out a
got
little
it stuffed in my
Ziploc
pocket
baggie.
here. I got a bag of sauerkraut that I'm squirting on my hot dog. Like, dear Lord.
I guess from the Midwest, I'm just a little more boring. I just
Well,
go
Midwest, they
ketchup.
put tomatoes on your hot dog in Chicago, right? And pickles. That's weird. It's
The
weird.
pickle is actually tastes really good, and like sprinkled cheese. It's amazing.
Well, it is. It's relish, so I get the pickle. The pickle doesn't bother me as
Mhm.
much. I think anyone who says they only put ketchup on a hot dog, that's like a deal breaker for me.
It's weird.
What?
Like, it's okay if that's all you have available.
Can you
Like,
still do the show with me? Because that's all I do
No,
is just ketchup.
It's okay to put ketchup on a hot dog only when you're 6 and it's cut up in little bites. Like, then it's okay to have ketchup on a hot
Or
dog.
if it's desperate, or if it's
I
desperate
might be
times, you know,
16
like you don't have anything else.
fine.
You have to put
It's
something
fine.
on it.
That's what I feed to my children when they have a hot dog. I cut it up in small little bites and they dip it in ketchup, like because they don't
Yeah,
know any better.
That sounds
Because they
about
don't
right.
have fully formed taste buds yet.
I'm 12. It's fine. I also like Dino
Corn
chicken
dog.
tenders.
Oh,
I like
my-
the Dino nuggets.
Forget it. Jabbar is coming to my house. I'm cooking lunch for my kids, and Jabbar is sitting there with her little plate dipping in
Yeah,
dino nuggets
I
and,
know.
and, and
Yeah.
hot dogs.
You guys can take all the filet mignon. You guys can take all the salmon. I want the Dino chicken nuggets, the mac and cheese, and my hot dog cut
That
into
does sound pretty
bite-sized
good.
pieces with
Dear
ketchup.
Lord.
I know
That's what
chicken
I'm
nuggets.
Jabbar ever comes over to my house, I know what we're making for dinner for.
I know. I'm easy
Grilled
to
chicken,
please.
too.
Bust out the air fryer, and she's a happy kid.
Easy to please. That's it. Okay, so let's talk about betting. Obviously, what our show's about. Do you, when you're looking at baseball, do you prefer to back in a bet, a high-powered lineup with an average pitcher, or an elite ace with an average lineup? So high-powered lineup, average pitcher, elite ace, average lineup. Jared,
I'm confused with the question. Can you
when you're
use,
like,
can
when
you use
you're
it in a
bet-
sentence? Can you use the word in a sentence, please?
when you're making a bet on baseball,
Okay.
would you rather bet on a high-powered lineup with an average pitcher or an elite pitcher with an average lineup?
You mean sides and totals?
Yes.
I think that's a tough question to ask because I think every situation's different.
Depending on the team.
I think my contrarian brain says if I'm betting on a high-powered lineup, I would look to the under. If I'm betting on a high-powered pitcher, I would look to the over because that's where you're going to get the best numbers. But the situation doesn't always lend to that. I don't bet a ton of sides and totals in baseball. Like you'll see my card all season. We talked a lot about it last fall when we've started the show. A lot of props, a lot of first fives because it focuses on the starting pitcher and allows me to isolate the starting pitcher, which is the only thing that matters. I don't care how hot your lineup is. The only thing that matters is the next day's starting pitcher in baseball. So that is where my handicap starts and usually ends is the pitcher shot. What is those pitcher stats against that lineup? Could be a hot lineup, but they might struggle against that pitcher, and then it kind of negates it. And then, hey, maybe you do have some value to the under, or the under, or you do have value on the other side of that hot lineup. So it's all situational dependent, just like everything with baseball. Ton of stats, ton of analytics, ton of situations. That's kind of how I derive my handicaps every day.
I like it. Zeno, what do you think?
I mean, listen, if you're a sort of a public bettor and want more runs scored, you're always going to bet on the backed up lineup because that seems to be what people would rather watch. Me, I'd rather watch pitchers do it. I bet unders. I like under sweats. So I'd rather watch a pitcher just, try to go 7 innings and shut the other team out and take the under and enjoy it. Overs are boring. They're fascist. They like strikeouts. So, that said, I would rather bet an under. To me, I think there's obviously, as Jared mentioned a moment ago, there's more value in unders and lower numbers, right? Because the public is generally going to go higher. So,
Totally. Well, I have an under bet today. Let's go through our cards.
You're nuts,
Jared,
by the way, on your under bet. You're
This
nuts.
is a dangerous under. You'll be sweating this one from the.
Just wait. I checked the Doppler radar, guys. We'll get into it in a second. Jared, go through your card for the day.
All right. I have 4 strikeout props on my card today. I'm saving 1. I have 3 unders, 1 over. I'll save the over for play of the day. It's juicy, but I really like it. It's a low number 2. So let's get into the unders. Austin Gomber. This is a guy that I actually watched when I used to work at Florida Atlantic University. Shout out FAU Owls. But he really struggles against the Rangers lineup. And he's got a 9.65 FIP. What is FIP? Fielding independent of pitching. It's basically your ERA minus everything that's happening behind you. So it's a hard stat to kind of break down, but it's basically fielding independent of pitching. So it's an interesting one, but it does kind of track how good you are in terms of your overall pitching. So he struggles really against this Rangers lineup, and Texas really low K percentage so far this season. I think this Rangers lineup is going to be absolutely on fire all year. 6.22 ERA for Gomber on the road last season compared to 2.09 at home. That's hard to do considering your home parks. You pitch at Coors Field. So keep an eye on Gomber's road to home splits this year. So I'm going to go under 4.5 on Gomber. Jamison Tyone, under 4.5 on him. He has a 6.80 FIP against this Blue Jays lineup. Not very good, and he's really struggled against Toronto. And the Yankees overall have really struggled against this Blue Jays lineup. They were 8-11 Toronto last year, 11 run differential. So we'll go under 4.5 on Jamison Tyone. Also, Taijuan Walker. Fading a lot of New York pitchers tonight. Under 4.5 on Taijuan Walker. He has an 8.02 FIP against the Phillies lineup this year. He's projected for only 3 strikeouts in this game, and they're hanging 4.5. And this Phillies offense has been really good. Fourth in weighted run creation, which is another analytical stat that kind of shows how good your offense is. 6th in slugging, 6th in WOBA so far this year, and just a 21% K percentage through the first 3 games. So Philly's going to be a hot lineup this year. Toronto's going to be a hot lineup this year. Texas is going to be a hot lineup this year. We're fading all 3 of those starting pitchers today against those starting lineups. Gomber under 4.5, Tyone under 4.5, Walker under 4.5 strikeouts.
Like it. I really do. Jared loves his strikeout props.
Love it.
You got a strikeout prop today too, yeah?
Yeah. Before we get to that, Jared, in reference to your FIP and Wamba, 2 words: nerd alert.
You're gonna love the nerd stats from me.
Oh, dear Lord, your analytics people drive me crazy sometimes.
Some of these stats are so nuts for baseball. It's like,
what
the heck do these letters even stand for?
I just told you what they stand for.
I know, but it's like when you're looking at it and you're like, and he's FRX with the WOBA and the IIRT. It's just
WOBA is very easy. WOBA is weighted on base percentage. It says, so if you get a single, it's only weighted 1. If you get a double, it's weighted 2. So if you have a higher WOBA, that means you're giving up impactful homers, doubles, triples compared to just base hits. That's what WOBA is.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy to explain.
Yeah, WOBA is also the toy that my kids play with. I think it's also a cartoon on TV called WOBA. Anyway, I have a different process than Jared. Now, here's the thing, though. It's funny when you talk about K-props, Jared, because I've been mentioning this for the last 2 days. When is the market correction going to come from odds makers on the K-props? Because here's a couple of things that are happening that they're seeing very quickly. One, there's a lot of cold weather games in April that affect pitchers more than they do hitters. That's number one. Number two, with the truncated spring training that they had to have, starters are not going as deep into games as they normally would at this point in time, and they're being yanked earlier. And so you can't have a lot of 6.5s and 7s and 7.5s, even for some of the high strikeout guys like Garrett Cole, going on this earlier in the year, because they're not going to pitch deep enough in the games to get there. And Jared, when I looked at all the K props today, all I saw was 1 5.5 and everything else was 4.5. And I said, okay, the market correction is here. And it came after one series, the opening series, Lauren. It came after one series in Major League Baseball. So I am looking at a K prop today and going over. And in fact, my play of the day will be a K prop over as well. But the one I'm looking at, in full disclosure, I'm only playing this just because of the number that I'm getting. Michael Wacha of the Washington, Michael Wacha of the Boston Red Sox, Waka, going against the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers have averaged over 10 Ks per game so far this year. You're getting it at plus money at plus 105. Every other, I think with the exception of one pitcher out there, is paying negative money for their K prop. I'm getting positive money here. The only rub in this situation is that they are expecting rain in Detroit. It is a 5 o'clock weird start time in Detroit today. It's raining this morning. It's supposed to stop. It's supposed to rain again. With that, he might not be able to pitch long enough to get over this thing. If they can avoid the weather, he'll go over this 4.5 Ks against Detroit. The other play I'm on in Major League Baseball, Jared, you talking about it before I got on the show, and telling the smart people, man, this over a half run in the first inning is my new NHL first period overs. I love it. It's systemic. You can play percentages. There are going to be teams that are good at this. Texas and Colorado. Both of them average 1.3 runs in the first inning so far. Texas has allowed 2 runs per game in the first inning. You're getting 2 powerful lineups, like Jared just mentioned before, with the Texas Rangers going over the first inning, a half run in Texas and Colorado.
I'm telling you on that. So my strategy for, by the way, we're going to introduce a new segment soon called Nerfy or Yerfy.
I'm so excited about this.
Yes, run first inning. We're gonna be talking a lot because there is a lot of chatter in gambling Twitter about this particular bet, and I'm not trying to be demeaning to the public, but the public likes to bet the no because in their mind, and the handicap makes sense. Oh, it's only 6 outs. Most of the runs don't come in the first inning. It's not the right way to look at this. The right way to look at it is, especially with the aces. When there's aces on the mound and you're getting this bet at plus money, aces tend to be worse earlier in the games. You don't get them in the first inning. You don't get them. That tends to be what the cliche is about aces. So not a particular ace situation today with Texas, Colorado. It's just 2 really good lineups. But we will be looking at these bets a lot. First of all, they're quick. They're fun. You're in and out in 10, 15 minutes. I hit one with the Red Sox Yankees the other day. Second batter of the game hit a home run, and I was a winner. Literally 30 seconds, 6 pitches into the game. So these bets are very, very intriguing. And because of the public loving the no, it creates a lot of value on the app.
Yeah. I mean, and
it's a very intriguing bet. We'll be talking a lot about it this season.
For me, Jared, again, it's one of those bets where the percentages play out over time.
Yeah.
You have to,
and you can see trends.
Right. And you can back
yes better all season.
Any gambler should try to eliminate variance. And if I can eliminate variance by saying, I know this happens 66% of the time, I'm going to play it 66% of the time because I'm going to win 66% of the time. And to Jared's point as well, it's quick and it's easy. And at my age, who has the attention span to stay there for a full 1 innings? I'm all about quickies at my age.
Certainly I don't, because I also eat Dino Nuggets and mac and cheese.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Lauren's got that short attention span. Boom, she's in
Lauren's
and out.
remote goes from basketball, baseball to Paw Patrol.
I bought my nephew a Paw Patrol kit for his birthday. They love it.
I have 2 baseball bets today. Obviously, yesterday wasn't the best day for me. You know what? I'm looking for a big bounce back Monday. One of them I'm going to save for my play of the day. But the other one that you guys were talking a little crap on, Blue Jays taking on the Yankees. I'm not going to say my bet right now. I'm going to wait till the end of my little cap here. So Alex Manoah, young and up-and-coming pitcher. He's a phenom, in my opinion. He went 9-2 last season, 20 starts, 3.22 ERA. Jameson Taillon, up-and-coming phenom. He was. But he's been through a lot health-wise. And last year he was 8-6 in 29 starts, 4.30 ERA. Both lineups for both teams are pretty stacked. I feel like 1 through 7 for Toronto you can take deep at any time. And same with the Yankees, right? So the over seems like the play here, right? Wrong. Not so fast, my friend. I love the Doppler radar. Weather is going to be a factor in this game. Yeah, 2 solid pitchers on the mound. And also the weather at first pitch says 51 degrees. It's dropping to 49 degrees. And it says it's going to be raining at 9 p.m. The under. I think early season baseball can be easily impacted by the weather, like you said, for that Tigers game 2 with the weather in Detroit. But some of these games, you have to take that into effect. I am constantly checking the Doppler radar, my friends, constantly. So I like the under 9.5 in this spot total, minus 120. And I know that's a bold statement, but you know what? I have a good feeling about it. Doppler radar doesn't let me down, baby.
Well, I'm confused. Why is the rain going to affect the under here?
What do you mean? Like affect the total?
Why?
I don't think a lot of runs are going to be scored.
But why is the weather going to impact that? Is my question.
What do you mean? Do you want to how have you tried to hit a baseball in the rain? You can't grip it as tight.
Yes.
It's gross. It's cold. Your hand,
I agree.
You just don't play as well as you do when it's warm outside and when it's not raining.
But if
you have 2 solid pitchers on the mound. That
Manoah's solid. Here's the only issue that I would have. What if the rain comes? What if the rain comes in the second or third inning? These guys have to sit, and then they don't come back in the game. That I tend, and I'm not saying the under can't hit. It absolutely can.
Yeah, it can hit.
I tend to stay away from games where I know weather is gonna, because you just don't know. You can't predict the weather. Like, we can predict stats and trends all we want. We can't predict
Doppler radar doesn't let me down, Jared. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the weathermen have been right 100% of the time. A meteorologist has never been wrong in his career.
They're not paid on accuracy, but you know what? The Doppler going through the
Us
Northeast.
and meteorologists are the only ones that can get away with being wrong 50% of the time and still have a job.
You know what? 50% of the time it works every time. So similar to betting. You know what? You can either pick the over or the under.
Yes, but I'm confused. I'm still confused at why the rain is going to be helpful to the under here. I don't see that.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it plays out.
Cold, yes. Wind, yes. Rain,
Cold rain. It's cold rain. Do you want to be standing outside at 48 degrees when it's raining?
I do not. I'm very happy that I'm playing in this game tonight, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Okay, moving on to NBA. Obviously, the regular season finishes up yesterday. We had play-in games going on tomorrow, going on Wednesday. For the 7-8 games, Brooklyn hosting Cleveland. The Timberwolves hosting the Clippers. And you have 9-10 on Wednesday. Atlanta is hosting Charlotte. The Pels hosting the Spurs. Any look ahead at any of these games? You know, I see that you are feeling pretty good about this Clippers-Minnesota game.
Yeah, over 230. You're getting a really favorable number here at 230 and a half. You have Minnesota, which is the highest scoring offense in the NBA this year, averaging over 115 points per game. And over their final stretch of 10 games in the regular season, they were over 120 per game. And since Paul George has come back into the lineup for the Clippers in the games that he's played, they have the second highest PER of any team in the NBA. This is going to be a high-scoring affair between these two teams. I think it's a coin flip for the side, to be perfectly honest here, with a short number at 1.5, but I'm going over 230 and a half in the Clippers Timberwolves.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how things play out. Jared is looking ahead at some of these games now that we know who's going to be playing who, because that wasn't necessarily decided until yesterday. It came down to the last day of the season. What are your expectations for some of the games tomorrow and Wednesday?
High totals in all 4 games, 230s. Almost 240 in the Hornets Hawks game.
That's the one game I take the under.
Because the Hornets don't play defense.
Come down a little bit, Mark. So you're on the right. You're on the sharper side there. That one come down from 239.
It's a contrarian under between those two teams. They sort of almost cancel each other out.
Yeah, and you would think with the totals as high as they are, I would be willing to bet that not. If there's 4 games, I would be willing to bet that it's not like a 3-1, 4-0 to the over. It's probably 2-2 or even 3-1 to the under. It's just about picking the right ones. I saw some total droppage in the Spurs Pelicans game too. 230. I'm seeing a 228.5 now at DraftKings, open 230.5. I haven't seen a ton of movement in the spreads in any of these games. A little bit of handle towards the T-Wolves from 2.5 to 3. Little bit of handle towards the Hornets 4.5 to 4. But again, half point, I'm not going to, read much into that. I'm more interested in the series lines in the next round. I saw some movement this morning on the Bucks. They are going to be a team that a lot of people love to bet on. I think there's a couple of interesting series that I would look at. Of course, we don't know all of them yet. I think the Raptors series is going to be fascinating. I think the Nuggets Warriors is going to be fascinating too. So, or excuse me, not Nuggets Warriors. That was yesterday. I apologize. Sixers Raptors is the one that I'm very curious about, though.
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting to see how things play out. I really think that Brooklyn has the edge over Cleveland. Obviously, Cleveland dealing with some injuries right now. Timberwolves Clippers. I just want to watch a good, high-powered game. Timberwolves have been playing well. I love the Clippers' depth that they have and also their veteran leadership that they have as well. Atlanta, Charlotte, obviously, I'm not going to get into that because I'm working for Atlanta. But
I'm writing the write-up for the Pickswise website for that game. So
really? Okay,
yes.
Perfect.
Have a good scores. I was right. It is Warriors Nuggets. To me, that's the series of the first round for me. I can't wait to watch Jokic against the studs in Golden State. That's going to be a really good series.
And with the Pelicans Spurs, obviously, I feel like just the Pelicans are a team that's kind of like underrated. They have a lot of firepower. They have a lot of size, a lot of length. They dominate the paint. I think that they're going to be able to take advantage, and they might even be able to make the postseason, because I do think that if they win this game against the Spurs, which they will, and if the Timberwolves win against the Clippers, they have a little bit of the edge over the Timberwolves, because what are the Timberwolves going to do? Just rely on Karl-Anthony to make threes? That doesn't necessarily win a ton of games. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out, see who's going to be playing who in the first series. We're obviously going to be breaking that down a lot more over the next few days and into the weekend when the first round starts. So NHL, final sport we're talking about today. Only one game on the card tonight. Jared, you don't have any bets on this game. Zeno, no play, but you're leaning the over. And I'm on the over, but I'll let you go first. Why are you leaning that way?
Because Montreal's goaltending is horrible.
Both teams' defenses are horrible.
Yeah, they are. They both average more than 3 goals a game, but particularly Montreal. Winnipeg has got much better scorers, although they've changed a little bit since the trade deadline when they've taken players away. So I don't know. And I haven't kept up too much on the Winnipeg Jets because they're not a good first period over team. So that's what I follow in the NHL.
Not a good first period over team. Forget about it.
But that said, just based off of Montreal's goaltending, it's enough for me to back the over. The first game between these two teams was an 8-4 final.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually on the over today, over 6.5 minus 120 for Winnipeg. Their success this season hasn't necessarily been from their defense. It's been because they've been scoring enough to outweigh their bad defense. Like you look at the Jets in the last 10 games, they have the third worst their expected goals against per 60 rate in the entire league. Offensively, though, they've scored 8 goals in their last 2 games. Now, neither of these teams have been good defensively, basically the entire season. Montreal is going to have a strong scoring performance. I think they're scoring more. I think they can have the option to score 3, maybe 4 goals in this game. They've scored an average of 3.22 goals per game over their last 10 games, but they do not have the defensive prowess like you were talking about to shut down a team with guys like Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler. They have the league's worst expected goals against per 60 over the last 10 games, 4.55. And they've given up at least 4 goals per game in their last 10. It's just crazy. I think this game is going to easily open up, and the over is definitely going to hit. If I had to pick a side, I might pick Montreal, but I'm not on a side. I'm just most confident saying this game is going to be high scoring. So I'm backing the game total going over 6.5, just because of purely horrible defense that these teams have been playing. So we'll go there. To finish out the show, let's go to Pickswise.com. Jared, who do we got for a 3-star play of the day before we get into our best bet?
Good question. Let's do a refresh really quick.
A little refresh on the browser, on the Firefox browser.
On my Firefox browser. Here's a question. Do you want me to actually tell you what the pick is? Because it immediately contradicts the pick that we both, Mark and I, hate that you gave out earlier.
It's okay. That's fine. You can give it.
Kyle Lupus likes the over 9.5 in the Blue Jays and Yankees game.
I'm telling you guys, the Doppler radar, it doesn't let me down.
I know, but I love you to death, but I don't think the rain has any impact on the total.
It does.
I'm curious more about how pitchers do against the hitters, and I think both pitchers. Manoah actually has been interesting. I think his strikeout prop is 1 too high for me today at 5.5. If it was 4, I probably would have played the over. I just don't think Taillon's any good, and the Yankees just played last night. Their bullpen's kind of gassed.
It's baseball. The teams play every day.
Yes, they do. They definitely do. I won't contradict it anymore. That's the 3-star play on the site. It's the over 9.5 in the Blue Jays and the Yankees.
Perfect. Go to Pickswise.com, read one. Okay, let's get our best bets of the day. Zeno, you go first. You got a strikeout prop.
I do. I'm going to turn to Alex Wood and the San Francisco Giants as they take on the San Diego Padres. Wood over 4.5 Ks. As I told you earlier, the market correction is here. This number is way lower than it should be at minus 115 over 4.5. He has averaged better than a strikeout per inning last year. San Diego, in their first 4 games this year, struck out 31 times over the first 4 games. Do the math. That's over 7.5 times per game. Weather won't be an issue in San Diego. Obviously, you get a late start, but Alex Wood over 4.5 Ks at minus 115 is my play of the day.
That's funny. Weather won't be an issue in San Diego because it's like 70 and sunny. That meteorologist has the best job in the world because it's the same exact freaking weather every single day. Jared, who do you got for tonight?
So we're going with an over 2. Remember, we gave out 3 unders earlier, but this is my only over K prop of the day. It is juicy. I got it at minus 150 over at Caesars. I'm seeing minus 60 cents over at some of the other shops. But it's Elieser Hernandez of the Miami Marlins. Full disclosure, I will likely be betting the Marlins in some capacity 6 out of 7 days most weeks. Mm-hmm. They are a highly undervalued team with a highly, highly explosive pitching staff. The starters on the Marlins are going to be involved in a lot of K-props this year. Hernandez is one of those guys. Last year, he was great, over 9 strikeouts per, K per 9. And he went over this number of 3.5 in 9 of 11 starts. So I think that's a really solid number right there. He's projected for almost 5 in this game against an Angels lineup that now he's on the road. I know that's tough. Marlins tough start to the season at San Francisco, at LA. So that is a tough road trip to start the year. But this Halos team actually does strike out a decent amount, 23% through 3 games. It drops a little slightly to 22 against righties. But I think Hernandez, this number is really low. And I think he's a guy who's going to be considered one of the better pitchers on this very good Marlins staff come midseason. So we're going to buy low on Hernandez. We're going to pay for it. Laying 50 cents. But I think he'll be at 4. I think if he goes 4 innings, this is going to fly over. So we'll go Eliezer Hernandez over 3.5 strikeouts for our play of the day.
A lot of strikeout props. I'm taking a side in this one. The Mariners taking on the Minnesota Twins. I like the Mariners money line in this spot at +116. Chris Flexen in for the Mariners. We went 14-6 last year with 3.61 ERA. Dylan Bundy went 2-9 last year with a 6.06 ERA. Not the best season for him last year. I know he's going to want to bounce back this season, but both of those lineups have a little bit of pop. The Twins have power, and Buxton, Correa, Polanco, Sano. So you look at some of the pop that they have in their lineup, and Flexen did a good job of keeping home runs in check. He had a .95 home run per 9 innings. Dylan Bundy, not great last season. Both teams have pop. I trust Flexen a little bit more than Bundy. For Dylan, for me, it's a wait and see this season, see how he comes out. So see how he kind of settles into the season. I also trust Seattle's bullpen just a little bit more than Minnesota. So I like the Mariners as underdogs. They have a good chance to win this game in Minnesota. And I like it, getting it plus money with +116. Lock that bad boy in there. All right. Happy Monday, guys. It's been a great day. It's a great day to have a great day. Shall we now? Shall we? That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to Pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jared Smith, Mark Zinno. I'm Lauren Jabbar. Best of luck tonight, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't miss us too much. Let's get it. Let's bet it.